Hello everyone, welcome back to another informative video. So I'm inside the greenhouse now. It is getting very crazy now because of the heavy winds, right? And as you know, we are basically facing threats from possible hurricane or tropical storm now. And if you have a greenhouse, you should be worried at this time, or not if you basically have things in place. Now, that is what this video is about. What are some of the actions you can take to reduce the damage you incur to your greenhouse facility from whether a tropical storm, hurricane, or just heavy winds? Now, the first thing I would want to talk about is basically understanding what wind forces or wind speed your greenhouse can resist. Now, of course, in thinking about this, you'll have to do like you have to do this from initially. Like, so for example, when you are initially building your greenhouse, you have to take into consideration that at some point in time you might get a natural disaster, a tropical storm or a hurricane or just heavy winds, right? So then now you'll have to think about, okay, then what materials would I use, or what materials should I use to build my greenhouse? Am I going to use what metal, what size metal, right? Am I going to use lumber, what size lumber? Those things to make your greenhouse as strong as possible to be able to resist certain wind speed, right? And so on. So of course you would have done your research as to the wind speeds that we get in the Caribbean, and just find like an average range and see if you could build your greenhouse to that specific range, right? Of course, whenever an hurricane or a tropical storm or whatever comes, or heavy wind speed, you might fall out of this range, but guess what? You have to do something. You have to just try and make your greenhouse strong, right? So that is one thing that you can do, right? And next thing is being cognizant or conscious of the hurricane season. And not only just the hurricane season, but just follow the weather pattern right throughout the year, so that you can know, if you are going to have heavy winds on this day and that day, or you are going to be having a tropical storm or an hurricane or whatever. Just be conscious, just follow the weather. As a farmer, whether outdoor or greenhouse, you have to follow the weather patterns, right? Now, the next point is basically taking action, and this is very, very critical, because a lot of us as farmers, we fail to take action at the right time, right? Now, of course, you can be surprised, right? As in, heavy winds, it can surprise you, but it is not very often that you get a surprise. Our most capable weather stations are updating us daily, so you have to follow these information so that you are not surprised, right? So taking action, and when I say taking action, what I mean is, if you are going to get a tropical storm or a hurricane or heavy winds, you need to basically whoa, this hand is getting tired. You need to basically take down the plastic off your greenhouse if you have to take them. Remove the mesh if you have to remove it at the right time. Do not wait until your plastics are torn, right? And that noise that you are hearing is because of a torn plastic. Right? You hear that? And the rest is basically being flapped very hard. The wind is basically lifting the plastic.
That way, I might get away.
Right? So please take action at the right time. At least please take action before you get the heavy winds, right? Before the hurricane reaches, right? Don't be sitting around and say, okay, I'm going to watch it and whatever. You already heard on the news that it's going to be of this speed and it's going to come with rain or whatever it is. So please take action, right? It's better to remove to pay laborers to remove the plastic, right? And pay them to put it back on, more than have to after the hurricane passes or the tropical storm or the heavy winds, you'll have to pay the laborers to remove any debris. You have to pay the laborers for fixing back anything that needs fixing on the roofing. You have to pay the laborers for putting back on the plastic, and then most are taken is the fact that you have to buy more plastic. That is it. So take action. Don't wait until your plastic is damaged or your mesh is damaged, right? So let us now spend a few minutes talking about what are some of the things you can do. Your greenhouse is up. You hear that the tropical storm is coming now, or the heavy winds or whatever it is coming. What you can do is, if you have plants growing in containers, you can basically remove those containers out of the greenhouse, put them in a safe area, right, until it has passed, right? What else can you do? You can basically remove the plastic from the greenhouse, right? And how can you do this? A lot of farmers, especially in the Caribbean, they love to just nail the plastic onto the structure, right, without any form of secondary, what I would say, attachment mechanism. Now, what you can do to mitigate this is, when you are putting on your plastic on your mesh, you basically can use something that what we call locking profile. So locking profile allows you to basically pull it and remove the plastic on the mesh whenever you want. So it is not permanently affixed to the structure, right? You can move it at any time. So using a locking profile is one of the most important addition to your greenhouse in terms of affixing the mesh and the plastic. So please remember that if you are making a greenhouse, ensure that you are using locking profile. Don't just affix the mesh and the plastic permanently with nail or screw or whatever it is to the structure, because when it's time to remove the plastic, it's going to be very difficult and you might risk tearing the plastic. With the locking profile, you just basically pull the locking profile and remove the plastic, right? Now, yeah, so that's basically two things that you can do, right? Another thing that you can do, as much as how this one is very difficult for a farmer to get grips of, is if you have a structure that you can totally disassemble, then disassemble it. So if you have a metal structure that is basically put together with bolts and nuts and so on, you can basically pull that entire structure down and put it in storage or lay it flat on the ground to prevent any damage. Because guess what? A lot of greenhouse structures they'll build them. Whoa! Yes, you hear that? You hear that? That is going to rip up plastics. Trust me. When we build our metal structure, you find that you might get news that this tropical storm or this hurricane is coming with a certain wind speed. Now, if you know that your metal greenhouse that you build so strong cannot withstand this wind speed, then it makes sense to take it down. Because if you don't take it down, of course you can remove the plastic and the mesh, which will allow wind to pass through, but you find that you might have some kind of twisting of the structure still, and you don't want your structure to be twisted, right? So it would be best to really take down those structure and put them back up when the threat has passed. So these are some of the things that you can do, right? Obviously, if you are just going to build a greenhouse, ensure that you build it strong, ensure that you put in locking profile on it, and basically that's it. So that you don't want to be caught red-handed, where you basically are not red-handed, sorry. You don't want to be caught wanting, put it that way. You don't want to be caught wanting when you basically don't do any of these, and when the hurricane or tropical storm or heavy wind is coming, you basically cannot do anything. So how does it feel to know that you affix your plastic and your mesh permanently to your structure, and heavy winds, tropical storm, hurricane coming, and you can't take it off, and you realize that you have to rip it off, right? That's going to be very difficult, right? Because you are going to damage parts of your plastic. As much as maybe you might be able to use back that plastic to put on some parts of the greenhouse, it is not going to be able to to go back in and stretch how you had stretched it originally. So these are some of the things that you can consider, you know, in the event of a tropical storm, hurricane, or heavy winds, and basically even as preventative measures too, in terms of knowing how to build a structure and so on, what you need to consider, you know, before you, well, while you are building your structure, take into consideration natural disasters. So if you have any questions, any comments, please put them in the current comments area. I pray and I hope that we will not get much damage to our greenhouse farmers in the Caribbean and even all over the world, right? So please remember to subscribe to the channel again. Please remember to like the video, and I'll see you again in another video. Bye bye.